Me again. All right, so I've listened to all of them now, and I keep hearing everybody. I even heard someone talk about trading a few firsts, or a first, second, and a third for Justin Fields. And while I'm not opposed to Fields, his mobility is good. I'm sure with a little bit of time with like Tom House or some quarterback guru, he would improve markedly. And the Bears really haven't set him up for success yet, but that might work out in our advantage too, when we're having such shoddy O-line play. That said, he may have already developed some bad habits that are hard to break. I get it, guys. Matt Ryan, though, right now is not the problem. He's just not. You look at the statistics. When he had a clean pocket, he had 356 passing yards, a 72% completion rating. He spread the ball around to 9 or 10 different receivers, maybe 11, and 9 of them caught balls. And we can't say that Pittman's the only offensive weapon, because he was actually the weakest link this past week with 31 receiving yards, and he caught 3 out of 6 targets. Every other receiver had more production, and that's including Doolin. Alec Pierce had 80 some odd yards, caught 5 out of 6. Mo Alley Cox 6 out of 6, a tud, and 80 some odd yards. We had Jelani Woods get in on it. I can't remember. I mean, we had a bunch of different receptions. So we cannot say that receivers are the problem. Those people are stepping up. They're getting it done. And if Matt is given time and a clean pocket, he's getting it done. Those are numbers that you would normally see on the winning side. That's inarguable. I get it. I hear you guys with the fumbles. It's inexcusable, and he should have better ball security. That said, if the protection held up, those fumbles would have never happened. So, what are the problems that we're having right now? We're having Matt Ryan get sacked too much, and sometimes strip sacked, fumbled. We're having JT not be able to break through to the second level because there's no push up front and no gaps forming. We're having some problems with receivers not getting enough separation, which I'm sorry, but the history does show this team is very good at scheming guys open. The history has shown that. But it all starts with offensive line play. That offensive line is not doing its job. It's not holding up its end of the bargain. It's not making it so that there's a hole for JT to run and break through. It's not protecting Matt Ryan. Again, those fumbles would have never happened if protection held up. That's just the plain, cold, hard facts. And when he's had a clean pocket, he had, like this weekend, 356 passing yards, 72% completion rating, 2 tutties. That's what you want. You're getting what you want. So we need to direct our focus, our frustration, and our voices at the real problem. The real problem is offensive line play. We don't need to talk about any other problems until that problem is fixed. That's the problem. Every mistake has stemmed from that. 2 of those touchdowns this last weekend would absolutely have not happened had our offense not given them a short field. 30 some odd yards and 20 some odd yards short field for them to get those 2 touchdowns. Take those away, the Colts win. They would have won. You take those 2 touchdowns away, those 2 offensive mistakes away, and they would have won. One of them was a fluke interception. I mean, it was literally the odds of that the dude blindly tipped the ball and it 1 in a million landed right back in his lap. That's a freak occurrence, and that's going to happen to freaking Patrick Mahomes. It's going to happen to everybody at some point in their career. The fumbles, however, that's on O-line. So you take away one of those touchdowns, and then the game's tied. We're going into overtime against a team that, they got like less than 20 yards total production in the second half. Our defense adjusted, corrected for the steamrolling Henry was giving us, and stopped him. He was a non-factor in the second half. Non-factor. They figured him out. Our defense is doing its job. You come into the game, people attack you, you see what's going on, and you adjust. If your adjustments crack down and stop the bleeding, your defense is good. That's how you know, because this league is set up for offensive point scoring. That's what brings the viewership. That's what brings the excitement, is shootouts. So this league is set up for that. It's stacked against the defense no matter what. Our defense is doing its job. Would I like to see more sacks, more QB disruption? Yes, but that will come as the line gels. It will. And I get it that Derrick Henry freaking steamrolled him in the first half. It's Derrick freaking Henry. It's what he does. But the fact that they corrected and stopped him in the second half means they figured him out. They figured out their O-line play. They figured out the passes. They knew what to watch for, and they shut him down. That's what you want. I get it. Matt Ryan is old, and you want a franchise quarterback. But to get the franchise quarterback you guys want, you're going to have a number 1 or a number 2 pick. That's it. That's what you're going to want. And to get that, you're going to have to tank the rest of the season. And that means no more complaining, because you're getting what you want. I mean, that's really the truth. But this team is set up to compete. All that has to happen is the offensive line play needs to be fixed. I don't know if that means firing Strausser or lighting his fucking pants on fire. I don't know. I don't know what that takes. I don't know if it means getting a new O-line coach in, or if it, heating up Frank's seat and being like, look, man, this is your weakness. You need to scheme around that weakness instead of continuing with the same old, expecting that offensive line play. That's not what's been happening. That has to be fixed. But sitting here and saying this is all Ballard's fault is just madness, because this team is stacked. Here's why saying it's Ballard's fault is madness. You guys came into this season expecting better results. Why did you expect better results? Because we have the players and the pieces that we needed to make that happen, albeit iffy on left tackle. But we drafted Raymond pretty high on that dude. And honestly, I'll get to that in a second. But other than that, defensively, I mean, we got Stephon freaking Gilmore. All right? We have Kenny Moore, who's not playing like Kenny Moore right now. Isaiah Rodgers is on fire and has been for a while. He's getting way, way, way better. They hit on Rodney McLeod, or not Rodney Thomas. They hit on him. They hit on Nick Cross, and he could be used as a resting rotational piece for Rodney McLeod, who's playing very well right now as well. Our linebackers have really stepped up. That group is playing pretty dang good for not having Shaq Leonard out there. And that's inarguable. But offensive line is what has put us in the positions where the defense just, it's hard to stop an offense in a very short field. It just is. We all know it. So when our offense continuously in every single game gives the opponent a short field, that's on the offense. And where these problems start always is the offensive line. Without that line, JT can't break free. Can't break free. I mean, if you watch, he runs into offensive linemen because he's going where he's supposed to go, and they're not. That's what happens. Matt Ryan is getting sacked way too much, and some of those sacks end up, strip sacks or fumbles. He's getting hit by 300-pound dudes. And he's, 37 years old? I mean, come on, man. But when he has a clean pocket, he produces. That's what we want. He knows how to make all the reads. He produces. He does very well. We have to give him the clean pocket. So I don't know what the answer is. Could be, my opinion is until these guys learn how to communicate better, we give them extra help. We put 6 up front. You got Fry's in at guard now, so Penner's not an issue. He'll end up gelling as he gets more playing time with these guys. The other side, the blind side that's a problem, you have Pryor, who just gets beat off speed. You can fix that by protecting with 6. You just keep Pryor there and put Raymond on the outside of him. And then you just basically have an extra blindside guard. These are very simple things. If you look at Cleveland, they do that kind of stuff. Hell, the other day they ran in a tutty by using a guard as a fullback. These are simple fixes, but the scheming around it has to be done better. The offense needs to learn how to adjust their game plan on the fly like the defense did the other day. And if we have to protect with 6 until these guys learn how to communicate, then let's do that. Let's not waste JT's season, and let's use the experience of this quarterback and what he can do to our advantage. And to do those two things, you need offensive line play. You just do. After that, we need to work on tight end blocking and downfield receiver blocking. But it starts with the offensive line. These are just my thoughts. Tell me what you think, guys, because this is just where I'm at with it. Yeah, I think that's about it. My personal opinion on what we should be shooting for in the draft next year is a stellar freaking burn them down receiver. And then, you know what? We have a 3-piece right there at monstrous receivers. And then Jelani Woods is going to end up being something. Kylan Granson has really stepped up and been a pleasant surprise. Not really sure about Mo, although he did step up this week. Maybe he just needs to get gelled a little bit better. Their blocking, though, they've got to improve that. And I really think that stems from the core, the root of blocking, which is offensive line play. I would really like to use this draft to shore that up in the long term. That's what I would like to see happen. And then maybe receivers, maybe another defensive piece. I'm really not sure about that. I don't remember what the contracts look like for most of our defensive player who may be up this year. But either way, yeah, those are my 2 thoughts. Tell me what you think, Colts Nation. I don't know what else, but I've been listening to everyone's podcasts. I listen all the time. Love it. Love it. I just disagree on some of the things. I'm not sitting here and saying that Matt Ryan is the problem. He's just not. You look at the numbers, we're getting what we want from him. It's inarguable. You can't. You can't just, oh, he sucks. No, he's getting hit by a freight train repeatedly, and he's 37 years old. If you're 37 years old, I'm older than that. But if I were to get hit by a 300-pound freaking screaming freight train, I'm dropping the football. Especially if I don't see it coming, which is a majority of the time. Anyway, like I said, I just want to see this offense. If we could fix that, this offense would fire, and they could actually be real contenders. I know that a lot of us haven't had the talk yet about how good Jacksonville really is now. They got a good coach and a lot of talent. they're going to be a force now. And we have to combat this now. And the one thing that we can do to combat this now and come out on top this year before they're what they're going to be is get that offensive line buzzing right now. Have a good night.